Welcome to Wise Take, DFS podcast, NFL Divisional Round Preview. My name is Patio Joe. You can follow me on Twitter at Patio Joe Ref. And I'm joined here tonight by two Wise Take regulars. First, we got, of course, the OG regular, Mr. Paulie D, bringing him back for a second week in a row doing the preview. You can follow him at Twitter at Paulie8Ds. And then, of course, the Doogie Howser, the Padawan, the young Jedi of the Wise Take Nation, Mr. Cam. You can follow him on Twitter at KamG333. What's going on, Cam?
Not too much, man. Not really sure what FanDuel did this week with splitting up Saturday and Sunday, so looks like I will be playing only on DraftKings. But I'm excited. Playoff football last week was pretty wild. I'm expecting the same this week and just throughout the playoffs, so it'll be interesting, but should be fun.
Yeah, well, they say that this is the best weekend of football of the whole season because you got the top 8 teams still playing. Paulie, how you doing?
Good, bro. Happy to be here. Had so much fun. I had to come back. And playoff football is the best, man. It's like, I love it. That Titans game that started it all off, that was phenomenal. Mariota throwing a touchdown pass to himself that just like got all the fantasy love going. It's just I love playoff. And this is actually the best week. This is where you might find some upsets. This is like, the best of the season pretty much getting it on. So I'm ready to roll.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting weekend. Last weekend, Saturday was surprising, I think, on both games. And then on Sunday, both games kind of went, the teams won as we thought. I mean, I don't think anybody thought 13 points were going to be scored total in the Jacksonville-Buffalo game. So that was a little disappointing.
Yeah.
I think in general the first week of playoffs was a little bit boring. Yeah. It just wasn't. You could say what you want about that Tennessee game, and Tennessee played great, but Kansas City lost that game. Tennessee didn't.
I mean, Kelsey getting hurt really changed things, and then they went away from Hunt. Like we've been saying it all year. Give him the ball, you guys are gonna win, and they went away from him. And once they lost Kelsey, they became very one-dimensional. And the Titans got the momentum. Once they got that momentum, that's huge in football. It's like,
it's funny. I thought I was watching that game, and the first series of plays, they literally tried to throw it to like Tyreek Hill like 2 or 3 times and tried all these gimmick plays. And I said to myself, they're in trouble right there. Like they're trying to do something different. It was almost like Andy Reid was calling the plays again. And it looked like the team that was losing in the middle of the season. Cam, what was your biggest takeaway from the wild card round?
I mean, I was at work all weekend, so I didn't get to see like much of the games besides Carolina and New Orleans because I was trying to turn it on in all the patients' rooms as I could. So I saw that game. That was a pretty good one. Breeze ended up playing pretty well. And I don't know. I had a decent weekend, but like I didn't get to watch many of the games. I was texting a couple people, and when I found out Kelsey got hurt, I was pretty pissed. But I don't know. I didn't get to see much of the game, so I don't really have a huge takeaway of it.
Yeah. It was. I didn't see much of the Jacksonville game. I saw a lot of the Carolina game. The Ram game was, effective. You can't turn the ball over in the playoffs against an experienced team. They're going to kick field goals. They put them on their heels, and then again, you have the other, the NFC rushing leader gets 14 carries and they lose. So it seems like coaches get away from what they're saying. What are you looking at, Cam? Somebody's doing something and is distracting you.
No, I'm just laughing at
all right,
how they just get away from their best players and stuff in the playoffs. It's just funny. I'm just watching TV while you're talking. It's just funny.
Good. What are you watching right now? Is there a basketball game on or something, or is there like Family Guy or
Watching
No,
Doogie
not
Howser.
that.
Doogie Howser? There's that new show called The Good Doctor. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, my girl loves
Yeah.
that show.
I've
Oh,
heard
really?
of it.
Yeah. What, he has like autism or something?
Yep.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like
Yeah,
Rain Man.
I don't really watch many shows anymore. Game of Thrones, pretty much, and that's it.
Great show. Coming back soon.
Game of Thrones? No, not till 2019, actually.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, really? It's not coming this summer?
A whole nother year. Yeah, we got to wait another year. So, and there's only going to be 6 episodes. So, but each episode's going to be like almost 2 hours long, though. So, I can deal with that. All right, let's get into it. All right. Enough got talk. Let's get into the first game, and it is a historic game because for the first time ever, a number 1 seed playing at home is an underdog, as Matt Ryan and Atlanta Falcons roll into Philly to take on Nick Foles and the Philadelphia Eagles. What you got, Paulie? Did we lose him?
I think you should tell him mute.
This is the hardest game to break down. You figure this game out, and you're going to be in a good spot. We got the Falcons as 3-point favorites on the road. The over-under has come down. It opened at 43.5. It's down to 41 now. And, we got the Eagles with a backup quarterback, team that was looking phenomenal up until losing their star. And the Falcons, who went on the road and won. They're defending NFC champions. It's very, very hard to know what to expect. But I think it'll be a lower-scoring game. The Falcons don't seem to be like an offensive juggernaut. Their strength is running. That's what the Eagles defend well. On the flip side, the Falcons did a good job defending the run. That's what I think the Eagles are going to try to do here. So I think we get a defensive, low-scoring game, and I could take a stab on like a Freeman or a Coleman if you want to get real different. And then on the Eagles side, like Zach Ertz is probably the main guy that I'll have exposure to. But this game is probably one I'm going to be avoiding for the most part.
Yeah, what you got, Cam?
Yeah, I'm with you for the most part. I mean, Foles, I don't really trust him, especially in the playoffs going against Falcons defense. They have a lot of experience in the playoffs. Dan Quinn definitely knows how to be successful in playoff games. So I don't really want to use Foles against Atlanta. Their running back situation still kind of cloudy. I think Ajayi's somewhat emerging as the guy. Maybe in a playoff setting they'll ride him since he's probably their best back. But I don't know how much I really want to play around with that. I don't really have a whole lot of interest in the Eagles besides, like Paulie said, can always take a stab at Ertz just because he's their best player. Should get targeted, a lot of volume, but I don't love the play. I'm not in love with it. If I'm going to pay up at tight end, I would pay up elsewhere on the slate. And I think for Atlanta side, I think my favorite play would be Freeman. I just don't see the upside in playing a Matt Ryan. He hasn't really shown us any upside this year. I don't really know why he would in this matchup. Philly, you can attack him through the air for the most part, but that's because I think Wentz kind of skews that number just because they've been so successful that teams have to pass against them. So I think I want to take a shot here at Freeman if I'm going to attack the game, but I'm with you. I don't really see a whole lot that's popping out at me that I really love. So maybe a one-off, but nothing stackable for me.
Who do you guys have winning this game?
I think Atlanta wins.
Paulie?
I think Atlanta wins too.
Yeah, for me, I think that if you think Philly is going to win this game, I think you have to play the Eagles defense. Because you got to think that the Eagles defense is going to come up absolutely huge. I mean, narrative-wise, guys, these Eagles players are underdogs at home. And, Paul, have you been to Philly before? You know, it's pretty crazy in that stadium. So, you have it's kind of a crazy kind of the storylines here in this game. You have once again Atlanta going up against Nick Foles, who was a couple years ago the Rams quarterback, and he just finished beating the Rams. And if Atlanta wins this week, they could wind up playing Case Keenum, who was also a Rams quarterback under Jeff Fisher. The irony that Atlanta might have to beat 3 ex-Jeff Fisher quarterbacks in one playoffs to get to the Super Bowl. Jeff Fisher will just be tweeting all day about that. But anyways, I don't know. I think that I want to think the Eagles are going to win this game. I feel like they're a prideful bunch. You know what I'm saying? Like, you come in, we have 2 weeks to prepare. Nick Foles does have the ability to win a game, but his accuracy, though, last few weeks, though, just terrible. So I'm actually going with the Eagles to win this game. I know I'm probably wrong, but they're at home. I'm going with the Eagles to win this game, and I would probably put the Eagles D. And I think, though, if I'm not playing Eagles, Julio Jones probably has got to be in your lineups, you know, because he could go off being huge. He can go 30 points this week. There's really nobody else. I think you could probably pick and choose maybe if you could maybe get the right Philly wide receiver, like Paulie said. Nelson Aguilar in the slot has probably a decent matchup. I don't like Sanu going up his matchup is not going to be very, very good. So you got to look for other guys, maybe a Justin Hardy, or Gabriel, Yeah, it could be this week. But any love for maybe Alshon or, because they don't shadow. So
Alshon would be the receiver I'd go to first, just the best receiver on the team and go-to guy. I got to dive into the few games that Foles played. Who was he throwing most to? Mm-hmm. But yeah, the Falcons secondary is nothing to really be feared, but their defense overall played well. They really shut down the Rams. That was an offensive juggernaut all season. I almost think that you want to grab a Philadelphia running back, but they got so many. It's just an ugly situation. I'm glad it's the first game. The first games tend to get some more ownership, and I think it's a stay away for the most part. I don't mind the Eagles D call. If they do win, you're right. That defense is probably going to have a score of its own, with a kick return or something. Mm-hmm. Too many question marks for me, and not enough upside in guys.
Yeah.
I think if anything, it'd be a flyer on a Atlanta running back for me, or I do like Philly's tight end. I think he's going to be targeted, and I think so I think he gets more targets.
Check the weather, and if the weather's okay, Matt Bryant again.
It's cold, but not very windy. Yeah.
So Matt Bryant again. I mean, Atlanta's got this. Believe it or not, they have probably the most experience now left of any of the teams, minus Drew Brees, in this playoff. So they're the veteran group in the bunch coming in with all the confidence, and they Atlanta coach said, you don't want to play us right now. So they came in LA and they beat the Rams. The Rams made a couple mistakes, but they beat the Rams. So I think that Houston can win. Atlanta can win this game, but I'm going with the Eagles somehow pulling it off. Just the fans in Philly being rabid and being underdogs, and that Philly they live for being underdogs. Come on, Rocky Balboa. Anyways, but yeah, I won't have much of this game either. Let's move on to the next game. Cam, let's start it off. We got Marcus Mariota, the best receiver for Tennessee, going into New England to face Tom Brady and the New England Patriots.
Yeah, I really like Brady. I think a lot of people are going to like Brady here. I just want to attack Tennessee through the air like we did last week. I liked Alex Smith last week, and obviously I'm going to like Tom Brady this week then. I want to pair him with Gronk in this one. I think we saw Kelsey. If Kelsey could have stayed in that game for a full 4 quarters, I think he would have won off. So I think we get Gronk. I think he could just go absolutely bananas in this matchup. I like the running back situation, but I just don't know who's going to be healthy, like who's going to play, what amount they're going to get, and everything. But if James White and Rex Burkhead are out, then I think that's going to lead to like a super chalky Dion Lewis. If they're playing, I don't know, it just makes everything murky again. Like I never really play the Patriots running backs just because I don't know what they're going to do with them. If you can figure it out, then you're probably going to be a step ahead of the field just because I think in this matchup, they're going to be able to utilize the pass-catching running backs out of the backfield. Tennessee ranks 32nd DVOA versus pass-catching running backs this year. I think that's a really good spot to target. Tennessee is through the air and then pairing the quarterback with the pass-catching running back and like Gronk. So I'll probably try to work in something where I can do like a Brady, Lewis, Gronk stack, or like maybe if we find out that White or Burkhead's playing, I could maybe fix that in somewhere. But that's where I'm going to be going. Tennessee funnel the pass doesn't really allow a whole lot on the ground, so I'll be doing that. And then on the other side, Tennessee, they're interesting because New England's defense, just if they're going to score a lot, I could see New England giving up a couple touchdowns here. You just got to pick who you want to target. You could go back to Eric Decker. He's 3.8K again. He's been a red zone guy his whole career. He thrives in the red zone. Caught a touchdown last week. We were on that. So on DraftKings at 3.8K, he's a really cheap option. Rashard Matthews, it looks like his price dropped a little bit after last week's game. So he's interesting as well. And then running backs, Derrick Henry's price raised to 7.3K on DraftKings. So that's a little concerning in a game where I think Tennessee is going to get down and they're going to have to throw a lot. I don't see Henry getting like a ton of carries, and he doesn't get involved too much through the air. So I don't think I'll have a lot of Derrick Henry. And then Mariota at 5.9K, I think I'd rather just play Brady, but the rushing ability for Mariota definitely, he definitely has upside at that price. And if he can catch a touchdown again, then he's got a huge upside. So.
That'll never happen again.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you think that Murray's gonna play?
No, he's already been ruled out.
Yeah, he has.
Yes.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like they should just play. Yeah, even if he was healthy, I feel like they should just ride Henry. Like he's been more successful all year, but that's a different discussion, I guess. That's about it for me, though. It's going to be like Brady. Hopefully, I can figure out what pass-catching running back I want throughout the week, and then Gronk. And then maybe bring it back with like a cheap wide receiver option for Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Paulie?
I'm kind of in the same boat, except I think this is just an absolute beating. I think Mariota's going to be popular. You know, I think like the trendy thing is going to be to try and grab a quarterback on a losing team. I mean, Brady could get some popularity too. It's just hard to like stack him with all of his good players, especially on FanDuel. But I think the Patriots beat them up through the air, maybe even through the ground too. I'm interested in Brady. I'm interested in Dion Lewis, but not heavily with Rex, what's his name, coming back?
Burkhead. Yeah.
Burkhead, you know, I think that could take away from Lewis in the air, and like they could both kind of score like 12 to 15 points. But I do have my eye on Hogan. I think he bounces back, kind of comes out of nowhere to score 2 touchdowns. And Gronk I like too. I like Cooks too, but Cooks would be the odd man out for me. I may have a secondary build with like a Brady, Hogan, Gronk stack, and maybe I'd bring it back with like a Decker. But I may actually like run the Patriots D in there and just look for like a methodical, like 34-3 kind of just trouncing. Like I probably won't have much Titans exposure outside of like a value receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for me, I think that the Titans, the one thing that stood out for me last week with them is that they didn't waver with how they were going to play the game. And that showed at the end. They wore down Kansas City, and Derrick Henry got his volume, and he just kept going. So I think Derrick Henry is one of probably the safest plays on the board all week. What do you guys think?
It's going to be really chalky.
Yeah, he's one of the. What did I say? The safest plays on the board.
Yep.
I mean, last week we were. I gave too much credit to the Kansas City D. Mm-hmm. So, and I think we all got enamored by all the glitz and glamour up top, mm-hmm. And. I mean, he still was very highly owned, but for me, I wanted to pay up for both of them because how did those other receivers all bust?
Yep.
But this week, it's like I think that you could pair Henry with another value running back, which we'll probably talk about here in a little bit, and get that Brady Gronk and Hogan stack. Do we have news on Hogan? Is he practicing? Is he healthy? Is that why they've been holding him out? Do we know about that, Cam?
Hogan?
Yeah.
I'll read you the like the blurb.
He's questionable right now, but I don't really know. I haven't heard a whole lot.
So Hogan made just one appearance on the Patriots' final 8 games due to a dislocated right shoulder. A limitation remains on his practice reps, indicating his health is compromised more than 2 months after the surgery. Until Hogan takes the field again for an actual game, they don't really have a news update. So I was a little more optimistic that he's back and healthy. Mm-hmm. So, like, if he's out, then I would pivot to Coleman. Not Coleman, Cooks. But mm-hmm. I do want to do, like, a Brady, Gronk triple stack and, either Cooks mm-hmm. or maybe one of the running backs. Like, that would be, like, my secondary.
With Henry, though, like, he just came off a 30-point game. His ownership's going to increase, and his salary increased. And if you look at
FanDuel, it hasn't. On FanDuel, it went up 200.
Yeah, well, we discussed that though. We're not playing FanDuel because they've messed up the slate.
Okay, well, some of us on here,
I'm just kidding. But if you look at DraftKings, so you have Le'Veon Bell, Alvin Kamara, then it's Derrick Henry. Fournette's not really a pass catcher, but like Deion Lewis, Freeman, Burkhead, those are all pass catchers. So on DraftKings, I think I'll definitely fade Henry just because like he doesn't really do anything in the pass game, and I think if like he doesn't have a lot of volume on the ground, if New England's up by a lot, he won't even get much of the pass game, and while all the other running backs on the slate will probably get 5 to 7 targets. So I don't know. I just think it's like interesting because he's one of the guys that you're picking up for at the position who probably won't get any volume in the pass game.
Joe, would you rather pay $7,300 for Derrick Henry or $4,900 for Jerick McKinnon or $5,600 for Mark Ingram?
Oh, yeah, I'd rather have both of those guys. And right. DraftKings, yes. But on FanDuel, he's $6,700.
Okay.
He's a little bit different. Okay, that's what makes him a little – he was $6,500 last week. He's only $6,700 this week.
Uh-huh.
So,
So you got – I mean, he's right next to McKinnon on FanDuel.
And Latavius Murray. I like Latavius Murray, too.
I like Latavius Murray. I think
I really like
500 more, I'd find the money. And Ajayi's like a wild card. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if Ajayi's on the winning team this week.
Mm-hmm. Well, like Devonta Freeman, I think, the 500 more to go to Devonta because you've kind of seen it the last few weeks how he's the lead back and Coleman is the secondary guy.
And Devonta's the guy in the pass game by far.
Yeah. Even though me and you, Paulie, I think we both still like Coleman better.
Yes, I think he's a better actual running back.
Yeah. Somebody said that this is a Kenny Britt revenge game. That's kind of funny. It's funny. For somebody saying, Colleen Wilson saying, "Are you fat?" Don't really understand what that means, but We kind of are, I guess. That's what happens. Yeah, we kind of. It's what happens. We get married, and it's just that happens. It's gonna happen to you too, Cam. So just let you know that. And Cam's girlfriend, he's gonna get fat. Just let you know that. Let's.
But you got like 10 more years till it happens. So.
Yeah, you got way more than 10 years. Yeah.
Good.
So
Shit.
we need to get her on a show one of these days because we need to learn a little more about Cam.
Hey, she played her first NBA slate tonight and didn't win, so now she's all crabby.
She probably did better than me though. So let's make sure that okay.
You gave her access to the cheat sheet.
Gave her actually the cheat sheets.
I mean,
I helped her.
Walker was highlighted, man.
I know she didn't pick. I picked for her, so it's my fault.
It's always your fault. That's another thing you need to learn. It's your fault. So, anyways, by the way, Draymond Green, good job, buddy. 14 points in the third quarter. You're just lighting up the basketball world. Let's move on to the Sunday games. Okay, so do we all think that New England just rolls?
I think so.
You think that they make like an excuse? Spread, they make an excuse out of the report that came out, and they just roll the Titans?
I don't see how this game's really close at all, but I don't know.
There is a world where the momentum carries for the Titans. The Patriots come out a little stale, and they stay in the game, but there's no way that the Titans win this game. It's just
you could see them covering though.
I could see them covering, yeah. I don't think so though. I think it's like a 31-3 blowout, manhandling. But yes, like New England's defense, it's kind of similar to Chiefs, where it's really not that good. It got better towards the end of the year, but I mean Miami exposed them, but it's going to be cold. It's going to be in New England. They're short one of their weapons. I think they blew their load last week, and we're not going to see much out of them. But it's possible. If I was building a lot of teams and I was doing a overexposure on the Patriots stack, I would have some hedges with running back some of the Titans guys like Mariota with the tight end and Mariota with the receiver, because the momentum does mean something in football, and maybe they're this us against the world, and they come together. They do have good coaching, but I don't see it. I really think the Patriots roll over them.
Yeah, I think the Patriots win. I think it's important for the Titans to just kind of withstand the initial, don't get down by 21 points. If they can keep it to 14-17 and just kind of hang around like they kind of did in Kansas City, and then something happens, Gronk is just as injury prone as anybody. So he goes out, who knows? But let's move on. We have a question in the chat, and it definitely pertains to the next game. The game is Jacksonville traveling for the second time now to Pittsburgh to take on Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers. We got a question in the chat. With all the running backs, we got 8 starters, but on DK, is Bell worth the price, or is it best to pay down? Are you fading Le'Veon Bell this week? Paulie D.
Absolutely not.
No, you're locking him in. Every lineup.
Yes, I'm only doing 3 lineups, and he will be in every single one.
All right, FanDuel too?
I'm not playing on FanDuel, but if I was, he'd be in every single one.
All right. Yeah, you're going to play one lineup on FanDuel. You're playing the Bada Bing. So you're going to do that.
It's my favorite tournament every week.
You're playing that one. So what about you, Cam? Playing Bell?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know where you're gonna really spend the salary elsewhere, so I'll just play him. The way that game went last time they played, I can't see Bell not getting 30 touches. But,
I agree.
Yeah,
for sure, and that's the for sure call of the day. So. Keep going on the game, Paulie.
Yeah, so this is the game where I'm either going to make a lot of money or I'm going to bust and lose like I usually do. But I think this game's going to shoot out. I'm loading up on Bortles and his receivers, and I think that Pittsburgh gets to a lead, and Bortles is forced to throw 50 times, and they hang in and possibly win this game outright. But if not, it's very close. Looking at like a 35-31 kind of game, or like a 28-27. I think Pittsburgh's going to do a bunch of damage through the ground, the short passing game. There's a couple like flyer plays on Pittsburgh I have interest in. I won't have any of the receiver coming off injury, Antonio Brown. Although he did well against them, I think Jalen gets his revenge here and locks him down kind of.
I think Bouye will cover him more because when he was on Ramsey, he burnt Ramsey, and when he was on a Bouye shut him down.
I don't think so. I think they put their best guy, which is Ramsey, on him, and he shuts him down. But I think Lev Bell is going to see like 20 carries and 15 targets. Like I think his volume is going to be through the roof, especially in a shootout. I could see him breaking runs. Like you can run on the Jaguars, so I see him being the focal point. Vance McDonald is a low-cost flyer at tight end that has like seen his role emerge, and he's a very good receiving tight end, not greatest blocking. I don't mind him as like a salary saver, so you can pay up for more stars. And then I haven't decided yet, but I will be playing one of Juju Smith or Martavis. Probably Juju. He just seems to have like more talent, and with Le'Veon. And then I'm gonna have a lot of Bortles. And right now I'm leaning to Westbrook and Lee. Westbrook seemed to be the guy like they targeted most last week, and I don't think that was really matchup centric. I think that's just one of their more talented guys, and I think it continues. I think you could even like take a shot on a Hearns or a Cole, but I'm leaning towards like a double stack with Marquise Lee and Westbrook with a lot of Bortles.
Yeah, didn't Hearns and Cole get like goose eggs last week?
Yeah, I think they got like one target each, but no catches yet.
Did anybody watch that game? Did you watch that game?
Yeah, I watched the whole game. It was miserable.
What the hell? I don't get it. What?
It was a defensive battle. It was like the Bills, like Shady looked fine, like health wise, but it was a very good defense. They couldn't pass. Mm-hmm. They had the pass rush. T-Mobile was on the run all game, but the Jags, like it seemed like they were scared to like open up the offense. They wanted to just get the win and get out of there, so they were very, very conservative. I think this game, Steelers get the lead and they force the Jags to open it up, and we've seen Bortles throw all season long, and like I just think this game turns into a shootout. The weather's going to be all right. It's going to be cold, but like no wind, no rain, snow, or any of that, so I think this shootout, and I think it's like a very, very contrarian approach to the slate. I expect to get these guys super low owned, and if it's right, it'll win a tournament.
Who wins?
I think Pittsburgh wins, but I don't think that it's impossible for the Jags to win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, okay. So if the Jags win, how do you see the Jags winning?
Like last-second touchdown pass from Bortles to Marquise Lee.
All right.
So
it's still a high-scoring game. Yep. So you just think that the Jags' defense isn't going to come to play?
I think they will, but I think Pittsburgh's just experienced and has too many weapons, and they'll get a lead, and then the game's going to kind of open up.
All right. What do you say, Cam?
Yeah, I'm actually glad that you said that because I have a lot of interest in Jacksonville just because, like, the Steelers' defense since what's his name went out and during that Packer game.
Easier.
Yeah, they're not even close to the same defense. So I think you can move the ball on them. And I'm with you. Like I think Lev Bell probably has like a floor of like 30 touches in this game. I can just see Big Ben like dropping back, holding the ball for 2 seconds, and just dumping it to Lev Bell like 7-8 times. They run that like play a lot. I think on DraftKings especially, like I wouldn't fade him at all. He's got a really high floor and like a high ceiling for sure. Against Jacksonville, the matchup is tough, but I think Lev Bell can exploit him. And then for the Jacksonville side of the ball, and also what I want to say, I would play Juju instead of Martavis Bryant because Juju lines up in the slot, and then I think Bryant's gonna get Ramsey or Boye. I think Boye is gonna cover Antonio Brown, but I could be wrong. And then on the Jacksonville side of the ball, I like Bortles, especially at 5K on DraftKings. I think he has rushing upside, and then this defense, like I said, it's not the same. I think they'll be able to move the ball. The wide receivers, they're decent. They're not like bad at all. They can get open, especially against the secondary. My favorite would probably be D.D. Westbrook. He's 4.4K. He just continues to get the targets. I'll just keep riding him. I watched him at Oklahoma. He's a playmaker. He can get down the field really quick. And the Steelers this year rank bottom third in the league against the deep ball. I think on a slate like this, DD could, if he could break a bomb touchdown, if Bortles can get it down the field. That's a big if because I don't have a whole bunch of faith in him, but if he could connect with DD on one deep down the field, I think that could be a slate changer for sure. And I also don't mind Fournette in this matchup. I think I want to have exposure to like Bortles in the pass game more than I do Fournette, but I still think Fournette is in a pretty decent spot here. Mm-hmm. But that's about it for me.
Yeah, for me, I like the fact you guys have kind of put me on Bortles a little bit. It definitely opens up some options for you, and I like the way that you think the game script's going to go. So I like that. I think Bell is obviously how chalky is he going to be though? Guys, what do you think?
I don't know. I think like he'll be high owned, but I think like if we're differentiating it with like a Jags like stack through the pass game, I don't think it will really matter all that much. But I mean, looking at the prices, I don't know what he is on FanDuel because I'm just playing DraftKings, but
it's like 9.6-ish, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. He'll be pretty high owned, I think, on this slate, but I think we can differentiate enough for it not to really matter. What do you think, Paulie?
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think he's going to be popular. I think the real question is how popular is Antonio Brown going to be? Because, like, if you look at the game logs, he did well against them. He was just killing it at the end of the year before the injury. And I think it's very hard to play them both. So if you think, like, Antonio Brown gets any more than 20% ownership, then Lev won't be much more than, like, 40, But if Antonio Brown's going to be, like, 10, then you may see Lev closer to 60. But I think Lev's going to be popular, too. There's just not a ton of options. It's not like we have Gurley on the slate. Kamara and Ingram both busted last week. Fournette busted. Deion Lewis probably going to be the most popular running back, and then followed very closely by Derrick Henry. Mm-hmm. So, but you can, you get two. And on DraftKings, you can even play three. So I think he's going to be pretty popular just because of the volume.
Yeah, I think, another thing, people got to be looking at Big Ben. Last time he threw for over 300 against this team. I know he threw for 5 picks, but that's not going to happen again. But
you think they're like really going to throw that many times though in this one?
Yeah, I don't know if Ben's going to be popular.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying he just
Oh, do you think? Are you saying he's going to get ownership?
Well, I mean, I'm just saying. I don't know. I don't think he's going to be that popular, but I think he's not a bad play. Like, don't.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
I'm saying like don't shy away from him. That's my saying. Like,
I think the bulk of the quarterback ownership is going to be Brady, Keenum, and Mariota.
I agree. I think Brady and Keenum. I agree. Brady and Keenum, probably.
That's interesting. I think Keenum's going to be popular. I wasn't on him at all, so that's.
I mean, it's like a price thing, Like you can get a good lineup with him in there, and then,
like a lineup construction.
Carolina just passed on the Saints last week, so like you're not paying all the way up for Brady, I think Keenum's like the next guy that you could see being in a shootout with New Orleans on the dome. Like, I know New Orleans is good against the pass, but like he's got tight ends, backs out, like that or Mariota with the rushing upside.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to see how you guys think that game goes. But
You think Pittsburgh wins this game?
You do?
Cam? You think Pittsburgh wins?
I think it's a lot closer than what Vegas thinks. I don't like right now. Jacksonville has an implied total of like the lowest on the slate. It's tough. I think just because Pittsburgh's at home, I would give them a slight edge, but I think Jacksonville has a shot on this one. Like I don't think it's like a easy win at all for sure. Like so for me, but I would give it to the Steelers.
I think the only thing that's going to hold the Steelers back is if the Patriots win. You know what I'm saying? They could be looking ahead a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but they were beat week 5 by this team. How did they win? They ran the ball with Leonard Fournette. So why aren't we talking about him more? You think they're just going to all just concentrate towards Fournette? Like, you just said you like him. Paulie, you didn't even mention him.
Yeah, I think the game script's going to go. Pittsburgh takes a lead at home. Jaguars chase them down. So, like, I don't think they're going to run as much. I think it's going to be a lot more passing.
Yeah. I mean, I know Pittsburgh's, man, there's been times where it's weird. It's hard to win there in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're, the type of game that they'll play, just dink and dunk down the field and just ball control. You know what I mean? Like, they don't mind.
Right, was it Fournette that, if I remember right, like in that game that they played, wasn't it Fournette that kind of like took over that game and he's the reason why the whole game script went the way it did? Like he had he had a couple big runs and early touchdowns, and then it forced the Steelers to kind of get away from what they do. So,
yeah, but I think I remember he broke one late though too. So
okay.
It's like, I think the Steelers win, but after last week, I thought that Jacksonville would have a better shot, but man, whew, I mean, but I think the Steelers win. Let's move on to the next game. We got Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, you can call me Al, and the New Orleans Saints traveling to Minnesota to take on Case Keenum and the Minnesota Vikings. Cam, talk to me about, are you all about Skull on Sunday? Are you about the Who Dat Nation?
You know me, I just love the Vikings.
I know, so that's why I wanted you to lead off. So
this might be a surprise, but I don't know. I think the game's gonna be lower scoring than projected. These teams played week 1, I think, and it was a totally different scenario. Sam Bradford was quarterback. Like New Orleans was ranked one of the worst defenses in the league at the time.
No Kamara.
No Kamara played. Yeah, it was just completely different scenario. I have confidence in Minnesota's defense at home here. The crowd's going to be nuts at the new stadium. I think it's going to be really tough for New Orleans to move the ball. I think Xavier Rhodes will shadow Michael Thomas the whole game. That'll be a really good matchup. Trey Waynes will probably get most of Ted Ginn. I think he could probably win that matchup, and then it's pretty much Minnesota's front seven versus New Orleans' run game, and I think that's a really good matchup, and whoever wins that matchup is going to win the game. Harrison Smith can come down and help in the run stop there, and he's a really good player. I think he'll help a lot versus Kamara. I think if I was picking one guy for the Saints, it would be Kamara, just because I think he can get outside on the edge against the Vikings, and that would be the path to success, I think, for the Saints to win this game. other than that, I don't really see a whole lot of upside for like DFS wise for the Saints besides Kamara. So I'll probably pass on most of these guys for the Saints. And then on the other side of the ball, like I said, I think it's a lower scoring game. I have confidence in the Saints defense as well. I really like Marshawn Lattimore. I think he's a really good player, probably like top 3 corners in the league. And I just like Latavius Murray in this matchup. I think he might get overlooked. And he's a guy who could easily get you like 2 touchdowns in this game if they find a way to like sneak in a couple times into the goal line or in like a goal line scenario, and he could just pound it in for a quick 12 points there, and he should get 15 to 20 touches in this game at what's his price? 5.4K on DraftKings. I like that a lot. And then you can take a flyer on McKinnon, but I think I prefer Murray. The other guy I don't mind to take a shot at is Stephon Diggs, although I think it's lower scoring, so that doesn't really go into what I'm thinking. But if I had to pick a Minnesota wide receiver, it would be Diggs, unless if it comes out that Lattimore's shadowing him, which would make a lot of sense. But Diggs has just been balling out the last like month here, getting a lot of targets, most of the touchdowns through the air for the Vikings. So if I had to pick one, it would be Diggs. But if Lattimore is shadowing him, I think I would have to go away from that and then just go straight to Murray. I'm a little torn on Thielen because I like him and I've rode him a lot this year, but I just haven't seen it a whole bunch recently, and I think this game is going to be lower scoring than a lot of people do. So I'll take a stand there. I'll go with the Jags pass game instead of the Vikings if you guys think Keenum's going to be popular.
Yeah, for me, I think winning in the playoffs, you need good quarterback play, and probably the second best quarterback left is Drew Brees. And last week he showed you how good he is. He took over that game, played really well. And I think that, in my opinion, if you're the Saints, you have to score and you have to keep scoring as much as you can. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball, so I like Kamara if I'm going to pick any of them because he's more of a DK play. I can't pick Kamara on FanDuel because I don't think he can do what Le'Veon Bell can do. If I thought he could do 30 points like that, I would be able to. I just don't see that happening. I think Michael Thomas is going to be shut down by Xavier Rhodes, so that leaves Ted Ginn. I like him. On the other side, I think Minnesota doesn't want to get in a shootout with the Saints, so they're going to try and run the ball with Murray. So that's why I think Murray is a great play at his price.
You think it's lower scoring too then?
I think that I think the Vikings are going to try and make it lower scoring, and I think it is going to be lower scoring.
Yeah, okay, cool.
But I still like Brees. I think like Brees can, if that game goes off, he could get you, he could be the highest scoring quarterback, even if they get down too, and then they just have to score, and then they just have to throw.
It's definitely a similar scenario to last week with like, I don't think they're going to be able to run too much on the Vikings. So if they're going to win, it's going to be on Brees. So I agree with that. I just think it's going to be lower scoring.
Yeah. So I like Murray. I like Thielen more than Diggs because I think that Marshawn Lattimore is going to be on Diggs.
Yeah.
So, I know Paulie loves Diggs, so we'll get you in there in a minute. So, but yeah, I think the kickers are both in play because it's in a dome, and I like Ted Ginn, and I want the Saints to win, and I think everybody thinks they're just going to go in there and win, but I think like the Vikings are going to win the game. I think Vikings win, even though I want the Saints to win. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm cheering for the Saints, but I think that the Vikings they're at home and they smell that Super Bowl, hosting the Super Bowl. You know, so
they'll get a home game too if Atlanta beats
either of them.
Eagles, right?
Either of the teams win. If either of these teams win and Atlanta beats Philly, they'll get the home game next week. Paulie.
Well, they'll know if they're playing for home field to the Super Bowl before this game too.
You're right. You're right. True. So that's even more of a.
That's huge.
Yeah. Paulie, what you got?
Yeah, I'm a little surprised the line has moved out to 5 from 3.5. I thought the line would be around 3. That's in the Minnesota favor. And then the over-under is rising. It's went from 44.5 to 46.5. I think they just started the over-under a little too low for these two teams. There's it really depends who you think gets a lead, right? Like if the Saints get a lead, they're going to run the ball as much as they can, until they don't have a lead. If the Vikings get a lead, you could force the Saints into passing. And the Vikings secondary is actually it's got a strength and then a massive weakness. So, Rhodes is a star and he'll probably take Thomas out of his game. And I don't see a ceiling game coming out of Thomas, but I do like Ginn. And if you want to take a flyer on what's this dude's name? He actually caught a couple balls for the Saints. Brandon Coleman, yeah. And another cheap tight end I like is Hill from the Saints.
Yeah, he caught a cheap touchdown last week.
Yeah, I could see that happening. He's 2,600 on DraftKings. But if I'm going to play Breeze, then it's going to be with Kamara and Teddy Ginn, because the other side of the Vikings secondary is not good. And then if you think the Saints are going to get a lead, then maybe you play an Ingram with a Case Keenum and his tight end. The Saints do defend the tight end well, but I think it'd be hard to pick against the receivers. I don't even know if they're going to shadow. They're just going to whoever's out wide, will get that corner, and they kind of flip flop between Diggs and Thielen, going in and out of the slot. But I don't think either of them will have a ceiling game either. I think if you play Thielen, you play him with McKinnon and the tight end, and then if you like Breeze, then you play Breeze with Murray, and then a receiver from the Saints. But I don't know, I think you want exposure to this game. I guess you could build 2 lineups and one with both scenarios I just gave you. Mm-hmm. And let me see, I don't even know if I have anybody from this game in my team. I think I have Kamara. I think the Vikings will get a lead. They should be able to run with Murray. And just on DraftKings, Murray's just not enough. He needs to score touchdowns to really make his worth. So I didn't play him. Yeah, I have Kamara on my team and Josh Hill from the Saints. So I'm assuming that the Vikings get a lead, and then the Saints have to pass to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know the exact numbers, but I think Thielen's not 100% in the slot. I think he's I don't remember. I remember researching all year, and he's maybe 45, and then
yeah, in the game against the Saints, right? Earlier this year they played. Yeah, he lined up 63% of the time in the slot. He got more slot work than Diggs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, who do you think wins the game, Paulie?
Saints.
All right, that's good.
Close game. I think the Saints win a very close game.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Saints can win. I'm not saying. I don't know why. I for some reason, if I was betting, I'd bet the Vikings, but I want the Saints to win for sure. Let's see here. Real quick. Let's go down. Cam, top 3 quarterbacks.
Just
yours.
3 that I'm thinking about playing, or raw points.
3 that you're thinking about playing.
Brady, Bortles, and then honestly for me it's just gonna be those 2. If I had to pick a deep third, I think I'd probably take a shot on Ryan or Mariota, maybe one of those two, but I wouldn't even play it. I would just do Bortles and Brady for me.
Paulie?
Yeah, a lot of Bortles and then Brady and Breeze.
Yeah, I'm Brady, Breeze, and Bortles. But Breeze, I'm starting to like. I have a team with Breeze and Murray right now that I like with Ginn.
Are you pairing anybody? Oh, with Ginn.
Ginn, yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
like that.
so running backs. Obviously, we all like Le'Veon Bell, so let's not the obvious. What's number 2 and number 3? For me, I like Latavius Murray right now is just I as a pivot off of. I think he'll be lower owned than Derrick Henry, and he could score. He could fall in the end zone a couple times too, and take over a game. We've seen it, so I like that. And my third running back would probably be on FanDuel. I think Fournette's still going to get a lot of volume, so I'll say Fournette. Paulie, what do you got? Who are your other 2 running backs besides Bell, of course?
Kamara, and then probably Freeman.
It's a good call. Freeman's been getting a lot of touches. Don't sleep on him, guys. Cam, who you got?
Bell 1, Murray 2. I like Lewis, but I think he's going to be really highly owned. Right now, I would put Deion Lewis as 3, though.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I'll probably make 2 lineups. I'll have one Brady with Fournette, and then the other one Bortles and Jacksonville pass game.
Mm-hmm. We have a question here. Says, which Murray was it? Latavius Murray we're liking. Why do we like Bortles when the offense runs through Fournette? The reason why we like it is because we think that Pittsburgh's going to get up and Bortles is going to have to throw a lot, and it's going to be a lot of garbage time. If there's one thing Blake Bortles is good at, it's garbage time. So,
I wouldn't even say necessarily that their offense runs through Fournette.
Bortles threw a ton this year. If you look at his throwing attempts, games they were winning, games they were losing. I'm going to read this off to you. Passing attempts, right? Takeaway last week against Buffalo, but 34, 50, 29, 27, 35, 33, 30, 51, 38, 26, 35, 35. A lot of quarterbacks will be under that 30 mark. They were willing to throw with him. He's got good receivers.
Yeah.
It's game script that I think forces him into throwing more. It's the last game. You got to catch up, So if the Pittsburgh gets up by 2 touchdowns, they're going to have to abandon the run through Fournette.
He's their most talented player on offense, and their offense should run through it, but that's just not how it's been really this year. They've been throwing it a lot with Bortles. It's weird, but that's how it is.
You know what's weird, guys? Who do we like for defense this week? Paulie? Who are you playing on defense? Philly?
Philly. So this is DraftKings wise. I think you could play Philly. They're 2,600, second cheapest. Patriots at 3,200, or Atlanta, but they're expensive at 3,500. Let me see what the prices are on FanDuel.
4,600 for Philly.
Yeah, I like that. Gives you exposure to that game that I think is going to be low scoring. Steelers and Patriots are 53 and 51. So Falcons for sure on FanDuel at 44, Saints at 44, or Philly at 46.
Yeah, that's what I like. Cam?
Yeah, I think for me it'll be on DK. It'll be the Patriots. I think they have the best matchup wise, but who really knows? On a small slate, anything can happen. If the ball bounces one way, you're talking 6-10 point swings. But I think my favorite will be New England this week.
Yeah, Philly could It's funny because Philly could get a couple run backs. You know how they win up at the link sometimes. So that's what I like. I like that. So tight ends. Who are your top tight ends this week? Gronk, Ertz, and Rudolph? Or Walker? Paulie?
For me,
Rudolph.
Rudolph?
Yep.
Cam?
I would say Gronk.
Ertz?
I kind of like Vance McDonald on DraftKings just to open things up.
Mm-hmm.
But I would probably put him too if I'm talking like who I'm most likely to roster, and then 3 would be Ertz just because I think he'll get a lot of volume.
Mm-hmm. All right, and receiver. I like Julio, but I don't think I'm gonna play him. I think I'm gonna fade him and hope to God. I like Ted Ginn, and let's see. I don't really know. There's not really that many other good receivers this week. I'm not really in love with any. Who do you like, Cam?
Like Juju.
Mm-hmm.
I like DD, like I talked about. I think Pittsburgh can get beat deep. I think he's kind of due for a big play if Bortles can get it to him down the field. And then as a third option, I don't know, man. It's tough. I would say Julio, Philly, but I'm not very likely to play him. But I think he's in a decent spot. But my favorites would be Juju and DD.
Paulie, who's your receivers this week?
Ted Ginn. If Hogan plays, Hogan. If he's out, then Cooks, and D.D. Westbrook and Marquise Lee.
Who is the one guy you can't fade is Le'Veon Bell. Who's the one guy that you can easily fade that's going to be really high owned? Is it Julio?
Jones.
Yeah.
Julio Jones.
All right. Cam?
I think for me it's Derrick Henry on DraftKings.
Yeah.
I think you can fade Derrick Henry too, but
Oh, sorry. Were we talking about wide receivers? I don't know.
Doesn't matter. No. Anybody. No, you're good. You're good. Let's see if there's any more questions here in the chat. I don't think so. Let's see here. Gronk. We love Gronk. Obviously, somebody says you're going to need Deion Lewis to win this week. Team that's given up an average of 14 points per game since week 5, and you think Tennessee is going to score a few. They will be lucky to crack 10. Okay, that's what somebody said in the chat.
Yep, I agree. I think they get blown out.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the way I think this game's going is I think the Patriots are going to put up a bunch of points, and I think that Tennessee throughout the game will score 7 maybe, and then I think you could get a cheap touchdown near the end of the game in garbage time. So maybe they put up 14. And then if you have a cheap value wide receiver on DraftKings who scores for you, then you're hitting 3x. So I don't think I'm targeting anyone expensive on Tennessee, but I think another guy like Eric Decker or Rashard Matthews is definitely viable on DraftKings if just garbage time.
Yeah, Eric Decker, man, he was a piece of shit leaving up, and then in the fourth quarter he caught that touchdown, man.
Garbage time, baby.
It was it wasn't really garbage time. It put them ahead. It was crazy. But
didn't he have -2 points or something?
Yeah. So anyway, I got it would be the Patriots and the Steelers, obviously, next week, and then I picked the Vikings and the Falcons for the NFC. Cam, you have Patriots, Steelers, and Saints, Falcons, correct? And Paulie, you have the same?
Yeah,
I have Minnesota.
I'm starting to think
you have Minnesota winning?
Jaguars win, so maybe Patriots, Jaguars, and Saints, Falcons.
If the Jaguars win this week, they're going to the Super Bowl. I'll say that right now.
I don't know. I don't know if they'll beat Tom Brady, but
Yeah.
I think that'll be their Super Bowl.
We'll see. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the Wise Take NFL Divisional Round podcast. If you're premium members, be sure to join the Wise Take Nation. We need to be talking here a little bit. Our producer is still on his way. So I texted him, and he's like, oh, snap, on my way.
Another guy that you can't fade on DraftKings is Gronk.
Gronk? What about FanDuel?
I
Can
really
you
like
fade him?
Gronk.
Okay, he's here. All right, cool. All right, guys. Our producer's here, so that's going to do it here. Be sure, if you're a premium member, sure to join us for the Wise stream Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So for my man Cam, this might be the last time this season. I don't know if we're going to have it next week. We might. It's a 2-gamer, so it's just the conference championship game. And by the way, I am going to Vegas next week. So next Thursday, yes, I'm going to Vegas next week. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'll be home Sunday. It is the funeral of Audie Fulton probably because the twins are coming. My wife is so pregnant, it's crazy, so crazy. Like two babies are growing in the belly. They're both kicking at the same time. Like it's amazing. So, anyways, guys, for Patio Joe and Cam and Paulie D, I'm Patio Joe, and like my man CK says, good luck.
Peace.